What's happening? Have you guys been talking to Christy Mixie? I'm the bad guy. And today's underrated movie review will be on. Okay, so I've been trying to do a movie review on this movie for about a week almost. So finally, I have the opportunity to do it. So this movie had came out since 2005, and not a lot of people knew about this movie. If they would have gave this movie the promotion it needed, a lot of people would have known about it. I didn't know about it because I didn't see any trailers. I didn't see any promotions. I didn't even know this movie existed. It had to been like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years later. No, I wouldn't say that much. I think it was around probably like 2008 or 2009 when I seen this movie. And I was just happen to go through my mom's box cause she had like a lot of I would say bootleg movies. And a lot of those bootleg movies she was supposed to be selling. And I was thinking this movie was new around 2008 or 2009. And when I seen this movie and I was really feeling this movie, and I was waiting for this movie to, be advertised that it's coming out on DVD, and it never happened, and I saw why. The movie was out a long time ago. But still, I never even seen a movie sitting on the shelf. And I was really, really big on movies back then. Still is, but back then I usually keep track of movies. So this movie is highly underrated, probably because of that. I think I left something out, but if I did, it might come to me when I'm doing a review. So the movie, I don't know if it's based on an actual book, but they talked about a book in this movie. The movie starts out after a high speed chase turned into a hostage situation. So the guy who flipped his car, well, I wouldn't say flip, but he kind of turned the SUV onto flipped it on its side. And he had to kick the windshield out to, make his way out. So he kicked out the windshield, crawled out, and then the lady he had came out too. And before she could crawl all the way out, he grabbed her and put in a hostage maneuver, not maneuver. Uh, he shielded himself with her, using her. I think that's yeah. He used her as a shield. So doing so, they kind of kicked it to the news where they was giving the backdrop on the lady who was in a hostage situation. I didn't think they said much about the perpetrator. And upon listening to the news, you hear two shots. And then they said both hostage and the suspect are down. And then they kind of panned the camera to it's like a shrine, like newspapers and pictures and all that type of stuff. And apparently, the city of Seattle was tearing the two cops apart. One cop got fired and the other one got suspended. And you can see on the bulletin that it had the other should be fired as well. And you can also hear, certain lines being said. You can hear the captain say, "This is not the Wild Wild West anymore." And then you can hear Connor say, something about the situation, but in the same situation, he'll do it again, and he's not going to apologize for doing his job. Okay, so that's kind of kicked off the, was it the prologue? And then it went on to the movie. And into the movie, you see a SUV hit a U-turn and make a park at a bank. So it was apparently, was it five guys? Yeah, it was five guys led by Wesley Snipes' character. Wesley Snipes apparently supposed to be the mastermind of a heist they supposed to pull. And usually a heist movie always an interesting movie. Usually when you see people robbing bank, it's always an attention grabber. You be like, I wonder how they gonna get caught or what mistakes they gonna make. You know, that type of shit. Heist movies are always a good movie to watch. Um, so they walked into this bank and I think Wesley Snipes emptied a whole clip in the air. And then the other guy was, you know, getting order in the bank, telling people to get down and put their cell phones in the bag and whatnot. And then one guy made a slip up and he hit the alarm and got shot for it. And Wesley Snipes, he ducked and looked around, pointing his gun because he's thinking they're in danger. So he saw that he shot somebody and asked him what the hell he was doing. So the guy was like, the son of a bitch set off the alarm. And Wesley Snipes was like, would you think it makes more sense to shoot him before he set off the alarm? And the dude kind of sounded oblivious and he was like, yeah, I guess so. And so I don't know that part was planned or improvised because I just it, I just don't see I just don't mm, I just don't know how it happened because at one point you'll think it's playing and then at another point you don't think it's playing. So he was saying, okay, we're on the clock. Let's get these people out of here or whatever. And then he turned around to this other guy and he was like, if you want to do something, make sure you do it right. And then he popped the guy 2 times, I guess, to finish him off. The guy that was shot already. So he finished it off for him because apparently the guy was still breathing. Uh, so later, the cops was they made it to the scene. Um, so apparently the leader of the guys, I think he was like looking out the window and he saw one of the detectives was standing out there. Apparently, he wanted to talk to him. So I guess he kind of had the phone connected or hooked up. He was hooking up the phone, and then he made a phone call to the detective outside. So he told the detective that he only had one demand, and it was kind of a weird demand, but that was his demand. So his demand was apparently to get Quentin on the phone. And Quentin is most likely one of the guys who was involved in the Pearl Street Bridge incident. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Um, Quentin was the guy who was suspended but not fired. So they requested to talk to him. So later they show the captain and a new guy. They call him College Boy. uh, so the captain was at Quentin's doorstep and he was saying that they need to talk. And Quentin was like, well, I don't want to talk to you. but he didn't close the door, but he left it open and walked off. So I guess it was a open door invitation. so uh so the captain told him what's up, that there's a hostage situation at the American Global Bank, or whatever the bank was called. And he was Quentin reminded the captain that even if he wanted to help, he's suspended. So the captain handed him his badge and said that he's back on the force. But he's not going to unleash him like that. But there's a condition that the college boy is going to be his partner, his new partner. And the college boy is supposed to keep an eye on him. So they make it to the bank. There were like two other detectives there. One was a guy and other's a female. The female detective was apparently an ex-girlfriend of Quentin's, and I guess she still have feelings for him. So what kind of set it off was that she was questioning him, and he kind of aired her dirty laundry in front of the college boy by saying something about fucking the asshole and look in the mirror. And she looked at the college boy surprised and she gasped. And the college boy looked somewhere else like, don't bring that shit to my attention. And I kind of find that surprising that he wasn't simping for her, but he kind of let that be their business. So upon her asking that question to Quentin for him to respond the way he did, what he was saying was, uh, he was saying something about the guy he was on the phone with. Like, that was Wesley Snipes' character. So Wesley Snipes' character went by the name of Lorenz in the bank, because I think Wesley Snipes' character had like three names. And the first name they came up with was Lorenz, and that was given to Connors when they had the phone call. So he was like, okay, what do they want in the bank? And one person was like, no, he was like, what? I don't know whether he want or I think the question he asked was why, and I don't remember what he said, but he ended with why. And one person was like, he was trying to figure out his next move. And then the college boy was like, he thought you were suspended and he wasn't expecting you to be on the phone. And whatever it was, he almost got away with it. And then somebody else was like, yeah, they up and up wasting our time. And Quentin was like, yeah, they is. So we need to get in there. So that what uh, happened prior to the back and forth between Connors and his ex girlfriend. So going back to College Boy when he said that the guy in the bank thought that he was suspended and he wasn't expecting him. I wasn't. I kind of find that odd for him to say that, because he's supposed to know that he was the one they asked for. So why shouldn't he get him on the phone? For him to say that, I kind of find that it's like a mistake in the movie. So he sent one of the detectives to look for the commander. So when the detective brought the commander, he asked the commander, "What's the strategy? What's the plan? What you got?" Uh, The commander was like, "We got snipers on the roof. We're gonna kick the door in, throw the tear gas, and go in blazing." And it sounded reckless, yes, and that's exactly how they planned on doing it. So the guy Connors was telling him to calm down, calm down. There's civilians in there. That's too big of a risk, too great a chance, or whatever. And Commander kind of got attitude. He was like, "Well, there's no pussy way in." So Connors was like, "Okay, so why not we turn off the powers that would disable the electronic lock, and we can open the locks manually, and we can go in." And the commander was like, "Yeah, we can do that." And I guess he was kind of kicking the man down when he said, "I guess we'll take the pussy way in, Commander." So, and here's what troubles me. When he was getting ready to, no, I'm not gonna say get ready, but when he cut the light off at 11:15, uh, he was gonna get ready to. I think he was gonna get ready to send the SWAT team in, but for some reason, he said, "Hold on, what just happened?" And then they put the cameras up to the bank where you could see like people was getting pulled up to the window, strung upside down. And I kind of figured something was wrong. Well, I ain't gonna say I figured something was wrong, but something just didn't sit right because when he said that, it didn't even happen yet. So I was like, was he waiting on something to happen and then say that, or did he jump the gun when he say that? It was really, really, really odd, and it didn't sit well because he jumped the gun. So that was something to look back on when he said, "Hold on, what just happened?" So apparently he was telling the commander it's a trap, and the commander wasn't hearing it. Oh my goodness. So he was telling commander, "Don't go in, it's a trap," and the commander was like, "This is my show. I'm running it now." And they got in position. They did the sign language thing they do, and then one of them yelled out "Go," or maybe it was the commander who yelled out "Go," and then the explosion happened. So that was the heist in a nutshell. Well, broken down. Uh, they went in and they was like grab every hostage that's ran in. I mean, not ran in. As they was going in, they was saying grab all the hostages that comes out, cause they could be a suspect. And I think a few suspects did run out with the hostages, and I think the others had another exit. So they went in. They kind of swept the area. And then there was another team, they were sweeping too, and they kind of crossed paths, at the point where they was pointing the gun at each other, and they could have shot at each other, but they kind of not. I kind of thought that somebody could have been trigger happy. But they wasn't trigger happy, thank God. But I kind of find it odd that not one person thought about pulling that trigger or pulled the trigger. So they pulled up gloves, ski mask, and all that other stuff. And Quentin was like, "Okay, we don't let them walk right past us." And they all kind of had the guilt look on their face, or the look of shame. So apparently, I'm not gonna go play by play. Apparently, what I don't get about the movie, for one, is that the two guys. This is about to be like a really really big spoiler, a really really big spoiler section. So this, if you hadn't really seen the movie and you want to see the movie, this is where you might want to come to a stopping point because I'm gonna try to end it as quickly as possible. So, okay. So basically, what's going on with the movie is that there's the two ex cops. They are the masterminds of the bank robbery, and the two bank robbers are Connors and Lorenz. Lorenz went by was it Scott Curtis? That's the name the captain came up with because while Wesley Snipes was knocking off all of his accomplices, the one in the hospital gave the name Scott Curtis. Uh, so he was supposed to be the brother of the guy on the Pearl Street Bridge incident. And Scott Curtis is also um, a person who robbed banks for a living. So I guess he intentionally gave them the wrong name, somebody else's name, not just any name, but somebody else's name that do the kind of job that he's doing. Oh boy. Okay, excuse me. So Wesley Snipes' character goes by Jason York, and Jason Statham names is Quentin Connor. So they was robbing a bank to set a score with Seattle or the police department. Uh, they thought Connors. Well, I ain't gonna say they thought, but you would think Connor shot the hostage at the bridge because they never actually showed the whole thing. They only showed the whole thing when the college boy had an interrogation with the lockup guy, the guy who's supposed to watch the police evidence, because the police evidence the lockup guy kind of had a slip up because when he was interrogating him, he was like, we were chasing a phantom, and he's always 3 steps ahead of us. And he was like, who knows Connor better than him, than his partner, or something like that. And then dude kind of looked up like, what you talking about? Are you protecting somebody? It kind of rung a doorbell, and it kind of gave him away. And then when he kind of picked up on what he said, and then he was just sitting there with that old shit look on his face, like he done said too much. And his last word was like, you know what he said? He told me that he's gonna go and he's gonna go and you're never gonna find him or catch him. And that was it. So, so later he was talking to the what you call that guy that do the surveillance and all that. He was talking to him, and I guess he was tracking down Jason York. I don't know exactly how that came to be, but it was a phone call that they was tracking that they can. He was telling them that he can track it like 100 meters or less, and I guess that's better than nothing. And it went in through him, and he got his location, and Jason York was at a diner. And instead of calling for backup, he took Connor's ex-girlfriend with him. And um, so Jason York held the cashier, I guess she was the cashier of the diner, and he told the college boy, if you're going to bring me in, you're going to have to work for it. And then college boy said something kind of interesting. And Jason York was like, well, I'll be damned. That's what I said. That's what I said to that guy on the bridge. And then his partner was like in the back. Not his partner, but Quentin's ex-girlfriend. Because at the time, Quentin's supposed to be dead because when they found out that they was eliminating the accomplices, uh, Connors died in this house they supposed to blow up to kill the other two accomplices. So um so oh yeah, his ex-girlfriend was in the back. I guess she was getting ready to fire. But what gave her position away was some chick was stepping out of the bathroom and he turned the gun at her and fired at her. Um, I guess she was shot, but when he asked her was she okay, I guess she was all sarcastic, like yeah I'm fine. And he went after York. They had this this battle out there in the piers, and College Boy luckily got his hands on the guns before Wesley Snipes was going to finish him off. So he took out Wesley Snipes, and I guess he was going to pay the diner, the lady at the diner, $10. And the girl was like, you think I'm going to charge you after all that? Keep your money, keep your money. So the dude, I guess he was going to pay it anyway, but he kind of got a whiff of the smell off the $10 bill, and he remembered where he got the $10 bill from, and apparently the $10 bill came from Quentin. Uh, Quentin got the $10 bill out of the evidence room, but this is why he's supposed to have been suspended, so he shouldn't have access back there. And Quentin used that $10 bill to leave a tip on the table. They kind of had a heart to heart talk when they had dinner, like in the beginning of the movie, and he kind of set the college boy straight because he was judging them too harshly, and he kind of told him that well, my reputation don't precedes me, but you, on the other hand, don't have a reputation. So if you want to compare dick sizes, mine is bigger because you just got here. So after he said his piece, he stood up, pulled out a $10 bill, and he just slammed it on the table and said something about the Pac-10 is overrated. So he was gonna tip too, but he didn't have change for a 20. So he put his 20 down and took his 10. And that's where he got the $10 from. But here's how he know about the incentive solution or whatever that woman called it. when they busted one of the guys from the bank, the one they put in the hospital, he had a bag full of money, and they had sprayed some of that stuff on the money. And she was telling him about the new thing they doing with the money when they put in the evidence room. And Connor was like, "Is that a new thing they're doing now?" Because apparently he didn't know about it because he was suspended. Uh, and he did let $10 go on in the diner, but he didn't expect College Boy to pick up that $10. So that's how he knew that Quentin was the other guy. So when he found out after taking a whiff of that $10 bill, he went to his house and started looking through his files and all that shit. And he didn't see anything that he was looking for until he looked on his shelf and saw the Chaos book. And he started opening the book and saw a lot of the talking points that he heard on the phone with Lorenz between, okay, with the phone calls between Lorenz and Connors. He saw a lot of talking points being highlighted and underlined in the book. And because I think College Boy was taking notes when he was having that phone call with Wesley Snipes. He was writing down all the key words. And then when he went to listen to the audio, he was circling the words. So he was kind of ticked that he let him slip through. Cause I guess what made him realize that he wasn't dead was because he didn't see nobody. Because if you're going to get away from the law, the best way to do it is to have them think you've been blown up or something. So he took the book, and I guess he was making a phone call to. I guess he was making a phone call to the airport or something. And he went and he was having the operator to check the name of Eric Lorenz. I don't know that he got her to check Quentin Connors, but if he did, that wasn't something he was gonna go with. It was just something he was just gonna have to give it a shot because the dude's a detective. He ain't gonna be stupid enough to use his real name. But just in case, just throw it out there. So the woman was like, "Okay, we don't have anything under that name." He was like, "Okay, try again." And then he looked at the author name of the book, and he said, "Try Glick, James Glick." And apparently, he used that name. So he went to the airport to look for him, and he got a phone call from Connors, and uh, Connors was like, "What gave me away?" And he was like, "Harry and $10." And when he said $10, he was like, "Ah, fuck the diner." So he knew exactly what he meant when he said $10. Cause if he would have said $10, I would have been like, "Somebody, you pay somebody for me to tell, for them to tell?" That's what I would have been like. But when he said $10, that didn't go across his mind. So he was telling him on the phone, "Well, you on the police force now, and this is a good lesson for you, and it's a good thing that you learned this lesson early." And the guy was like, What is that?" And he was like, "That you don't always win." So he kind of hung up and walked on out, got in his plane, and flew. And I thought sometime at the end that the college boy was going to walk on that plane, point his gun, and like, "You ain't going nowhere." I was thinking that was going to happen, but it didn't. But Apparently, College Boy never saw that Connor was like straight ahead of him. Because when he was walking off, you could see him like on the first floor. Because Quentin was like on the second floor, but it was like a like a balcony type. It was like a balcony, where you can like look over the rails and you can see people on the first floor. That's what that was like. But he was looking straight ahead, but he wasn't looking his direction, but he was facing that way. And he was like, "Hello, hello." He was looking around, and he was like, "Shit, he's gone." And if he just looked up, he would have saw him. So that was the movie. I know I didn't say a whole lot, but I said a lot of times that I was attempting to do this review, and I had to stop because things came up, and I had to go again. And I think if I would have went with the review I was going to do the last time, it would have been a lot better because I left out a lot of things, a lot of important things. So I think this is good still, but I think this could have been better. So this movie is very underrated, but it is a must see movie. Very, very must see. I probably say I give this movie a 4.5 star out of 5. Um, but if you're gonna look at this movie, this movie takes a lot of viewing. You're not gonna watch this movie 5 times and be like, okay, I know what this movie's about. But this movie probably takes you watching it religiously and kind of pay attention to what was said, you know, and pay attention to a lot of things. Pay attention to details. And that's my review of Chaos. I'll probably be going through my next movie review, or yeah, movie review. It might be underrated, or it might be a foreign movie. I probably prefer to do a foreign movie because I ain't been doing a lot of foreign movies. I think the first foreign movie I did didn't get any views, so I'm gonna probably keep pushing foreign movies. All right, we're gone.